Hey all, today I wanted to walk through some really exciting updates for CostPlus shops. We made a bunch of improvements here that I've been talking about with people for the past couple of months, and I think this is a huge step forward for anyone that's running CostPlus jobs. It's going to make life a lot easier. And the first major change is we changed how we calculate profit for CostPlus. We assumed kind of a fixed price scenario in the past where whatever the customer signed for is what they're going to pay. It's not going to exceed if those costs exceed. So we better accommodate for that. And then also now invoicing is so much easier. So when you're passing along bills in time to the customer, you're now going to be able to see what things they've already billed for, just making that process so much quicker and easier and saving time in your day-to-day. So before we get into the details, I do want to highlight when you create a new job, you're going to see a new setting here called price type, and this replaces the old toggle that said enable customer orders and invoices. That was designed really just to identify, do I have a customer on the job or not? This is still that, so you have a fixed price job or you have no customer. What we've introduced though is this CostPlus setting. So this is what will allow us to more accurately calculate profit and the running total for the customer on these CostPlus projects. So to show you what I mean, I'm going to go into this job that I've already built out a bit, and I'm actually going to remove this existing contract so I can kind of take a step back and show you how estimating is similar and maybe dissimilar from fixed price and CostPlus. I think mostly it's the same. So when you go into the budget, what you want to do is you want to provide an accurate bid to the customer. So you're putting in all your costs, you're still going to have your profit applied. Margin is our default, so we take the cost, we apply the profit margin and tell you the price to charge the customer. A lot of my CostPlus customers use markup because it's easier for the customer to understand. If that's you, I recommend clicking budget view settings, and then you can toggle markup on and margin off, save that, and now you're going to see the markup listed. Right here, what's most important in my eyes is to set the appropriate markup for this job. What is your agreed upon CostPlus? So I'll select everything, and maybe for this particular job, we're doing good, and we want to do a 30% markup. So I'll click apply. That will change the markup across the board. It will give me my new price. And this is so important because when you start to enter your actual costs into the system, it's going to look at this approved markup, and that's the profit it's going to apply when you pass it along to the customer in the form of an invoice. So make sure this is accurate because, again, this is what invoices are going to pull from moving forward. So from here, how you send it along to the client is no different from a fixed price job versus CostPlus. We're going to have a proposal or an estimate, whatever you want to call it. The real change is in two things. One is this setting that says show cost and fee. This takes the profit out of each line, shows them the estimated cost, and then lumps all your profit into this total fee at the bottom. The other major difference is that obviously the contract is going to be different. You're going to detail, hey, this is a ballpark price, this is an estimate. What you're going to pay is the true cost plus our agreed upon markup or margin. That would be somewhere in the footer most likely. But aside from that, you're still going to send along the customer. They're going to eventually approve this, and when that happens, that's what sets your budget so you can start tracking your cost against it. And you have your approved price and you have your profit projections as well. So right off the bat, you can see I've entered some bills already. I wanted to highlight how historically using kind of the fixed price model doesn't make sense with CostPlus. So here we have design estimated at $895. That was our original budget. We've already overspent. We're at $1,200 right now, and in a fixed price scenario, that's a problem, right? You are going to lose $36 on that part of the job. CostPlus, that's not real though, right? We actually want to take that $1,200 and we want to take that markup of 30% and add it on top. That's going to update the price of the job to the customer. It's also going to increase my profit. So one thing you'll want to do is click budget view settings and scroll to the very bottom and turn on this new column called projected price. This is something that really you would never need to use for a fixed price job because that approved price is what they're going to end up paying. Projected price though is helpful for CostPlus because this will update the number as the customer starts to pay above and beyond what was originally agreed upon. So in this case, it's turned on right now. I actually want to make sure I save this, but you can see nothing's really calculating any differently. It still looks like I'm making a loss. It's because I haven't turned on the CostPlus setting. So if you click edit job, switch this to a CostPlus job, notice immediately I'm no longer in the red. I'm actually making $360 on this particular line item. And you can see my projected price has also increased. So you can think of this as the original approved amount by the client on the contract, but this is their running total. They're going to end up paying $1,560 for the design aspect, but bottom line, $109 is the new price of the job for that customer. This column didn't exist prior to this update, so this is going to be really helpful for CostPlus jobs. If you haven't spent the full amount, if you haven't spent $715 here in permits, which would be the $500 in cost plus your markup on top, it's still assuming you're going to spend the total amount that was on the original contract. That's until you go to that line and say, hey, these costs are final, we don't have any more bills coming, so technically you're under budget and the customer is going to pay a little bit less as well. So this would update that projected cost to be less. Technically you're still making money, you're just making less than was originally anticipated. So those changes right there just allow you to understand, one, what you're actually going to profit on the job, but then two, what the customer is going to pay. So if they're looking for the running total of the job, that's going to be this bottom line number down below. So moving on to the next big update, I think this is the one that's going to get people most excited, is invoicing. If you go to new document and you want to send an invoice, there are really two ways to invoice for CostPlus situations. One is to invoice for the line items that are in your budget and just provide lump sums and not the receipt level of detail. If you want to go this route, you can switch the approved price here over to your actual cost, and it will show you your actual spend for all of those line items, and when you create the invoice, it's going to apply your markup on top of that. This is not as detailed and as open book, I would say, as kind of the bills and time option here, so I tend to lean towards this, but I did want to make sure I mentioned that. So in the past, you've always had this ability here to select which bills and which time entries that you wanted to invoice for. But now you can see this toggle here is it's going to default to only the things that haven't been invoiced to the client yet. So let's say hypothetically I wanted to send these 3 bills along. Maybe I'm waiting on something on this last one. I can create the invoice here. I can play with the invoice to make it look and feel the way I want. But you're going to send this along to the client like any other invoice. And when this becomes paid, I'm going to record this payment here. The beautiful thing, I know it seems small, but the beautiful thing is when you go to send your next invoice, maybe you've been entering bills over the next pay period. When you go back in here, notice it removes all of those bills that have already been invoiced to the client. I can still see them. I can show me everything, and that will show me all the bills, but I have this green check mark next to the one that have been invoiced to the client, just showing you, hey, you've already invoiced for this, we're not trying to overbill in this case. So the nice thing is you can just open up this pop-up, click the top checkbox. That's going to include all of the new things that have been added over the course of the last pay period, and then you're going to send along that new one to the client. So it makes it so much easier. No more sifting through your past invoices trying to figure out which bills were included or not. It's going to make life so much easier. So one important point about this is that this is a feature that was added to our database starting today, moving forward, meaning we don't have this information for old invoices that have been created. So if you wanted to go backfill on those old invoices, locate those invoices, click on this button right here that says related documents. This allows you to select previous bills that you want to attribute to this invoice. And the purpose of this is maybe you have an ongoing job, a 6-month project, a 12-month project that you're working on, and you want to make sure that when you go to invoice them in the future, none of those old bills are going to show up on that list. You do have the ability to backfill here, and again, this is going to be through this related documents button, and you can select the bills that shouldn't show up on that list when you're invoicing new to the client. This addition is allowing you to basically identify relationships between documents. You're going to see this on all of your document types. So whether you create a bill from a purchase order, or if you create an invoice from bills, you'll always be able to see the relationship between those by clicking on this related documents button. I think more so this is designed for backfilling those old bills and attributing those to invoices. So I don't think it's something that you'll have to use all that often, but we wanted to make sure to provide that option to you so you can correct those existing jobs and simplify life moving forward. So those are the 2 major updates for CostPlus. Again, I'm really excited about this. We think there's more here, there's more we can do. So give us your feedback, let us know what you think, and hopefully this makes life so much easier. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.